Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Book Club. Remember, no self-help, no weight loss, just cars that rolls, explodes, and makes noise, or motorcycles too. We're here with, if you're a Corvette guy, you know this man, Mike Yager. This is his Corvette Bible, 2nd edition. Tell us how this book came to be.
Well, Jay, I've been involved as a Corvette owner for 40 years, know a little bit about the history of the car, and as Corvettes started hitting the auction scene, and there's lots of new people coming into the hobby, I decided that someone needed to do a book that spoke to the history of the car, but what do you do with the car when you buy it? You know, not every Corvette is made to be restored. Some of them make awful cool street machines, street rods. You know, if you have an L88, you probably want to restore it. If you have just a 427 with the wrong engine in it, you just may want to take it and drive it and enjoy it. That's kind of the basis of the book, telling the history, starting to talk about the strong points and the weak points of each year, and then there's graphs in there, from my opinion, what would you do with a car with certain shapes, certain conditions. How do you enjoy it?
Now, right on the cover is something, this is something, sort of a recent phenomenon. People seem fascinated with barn finds, even at the expense of over-restored car. People like cars that haven't been touched. You found this one?
40 miles from my home, and found it in the barn, obviously. When we walked back to it, we had to pry the door open, cut a tree down, and extricate the car.
Wow.
And I thought about painting or restoring it, fixing it up, and when I started talking about washing it, everybody went crazy and said, you got to put it in your museum as is. So guess what? Trailer and all, it sits in my museum just like that.
So when was it parked? How long ago was it parked? In
37 years.
Wow. And what was the story? Was it
just, you know, that's the cool thing about barn finds. Everyone wants to know what the story. The guy put it in there, and fast forward 35 years, and it ends up in my collection. And so don't really know why.
And obviously you have all the statistics for every year.
Yes, sir.
All the little ins and outs. Because, you know, something that the Shelby Club did, which I think was very smart, they started that registry to keep people from making phony cars. You know, you can go back and see there were, I think, 562 GT350s. It seems that nowadays there are more 427, 67 Corvettes than were actually ever built. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you know what you're buying. You don't want to pay $150,000 or $200,000 for an all one-off original car, and then you find out, oh, it was really a 327 or whatever it might be, you know.
I'm actually, Jay, doing another book on the numbers side of it, and putting all the numbers together. And you know, my dream would be to have a website where you could put in the serial number of your Corvette and get a listing of all the key numbers that you should have, and then associated date codes of what would go with it. Because if the car's original, it deserves a high price. And if they're trying to sell a car as a numbers matching car and it's not right, I have a problem with that.
That's the thing. I'm not a big numbers guy. I enjoy driving my cars, but you don't want to have, for example, something that you see a lot is a 427 Hemi Barracuda, and then you look and it's got 4 lug wheels on it, and you realize, oh, this started life as a 6-cylinder, and it's got drum brakes with 4 lug wheels. This is dangerous. So that's why the numbers matching, and you want to make sure, just for safety reasons, if nothing else. What would you consider the most desirable Corvette out there?
The Grand Sports.
The Grand Sports. Okay. 6 of them?
5.
They built 5 of them. Okay, 5 of them. That, of course, would be 1963.
63.
Yeah, split window with 36-gallon gas tank, am I correct? That was the course, the predecessor of the Z06. That's where the name came from. That was the car that was built to go against the Cobras, wasn't it?
I actually have a 63 Z06 that was a Yenko car in my collection.
Cool.
And the closest I have to a Grand Sport is I own Serve 1. And it has a Grand Sport motor in it. So it's a 377 aluminum car, and that car is 1,690 pounds with a Grand Sport motor in it, and rather quick.
Well, that would be a classic example of a matching numbers car. What would be the least desirable Corvette? I don't want to get any Corvette owners out there, but like, to me, I remember in the 70s that 180 horsepower.
You know, I'm in the Corvette business, and you're asking me to say which ones, but maybe in the late 70s, early 80s, when, you know, They had one car that came out with a 305 for California only, and it was down to 145 horsepower.
Yeah, that's,
If you can imagine 145 horsepower in the Corvette today. And a while ago when I was out looking at your collection, your ZR1 because multiples of the 145 horsepower.
Right, exactly. And that's, did you see a serial number on that one? Did you see the serial number?
Was it like?
I just had a 1 and a lot of zeros in front of it. Yeah, yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? Well, again, here, this is, you know, this is what I call, this is, not in an insulting way, a bathroom book. You kind of go in the bathroom, you sit down in there, and the chapters are brief enough so you can just read about one particular car that you want, and when you're done, oh, that was very exciting. And it makes you want to go back in the bathroom again.
50-some pit stops in there.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, that's what I mean. It's an easy read. It's not, you know, I get a little annoyed sometimes with these books that are just all numbers, who won what race, but without any, there's no personality to it. I mean, you've done a nice job here in laying it out. Here are the Corvette facts. Here's what Mike Yager says. So you get opinion, and you also get the actual facts as well. And look, there's a picture of you in a hat in every page. Look at that. There you go, right there.
Every chapter
very
gets
cool.
a picture of me, Jay.
Oh, very cool.
And I've got to tell you, in touring your collection a while ago, absolutely phenomenal.
Well, there's
cars and the history.
Well, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But
I think it makes a lot of sense. Car guys understand.
Well,
what sense
car
it makes
guys
out
do.
There.
I have the pictures on the wall for the wives for something to look at, you know. So, and when women come, I just go, "How many pairs of shoes do you have?" And they go, "Well, okay." And then so that kind of settles it right there. What's the oldest Corvette you have?
54.
54.
3,000 original miles.
Wow. And what number would that be?
I think it's 3260, and they started off with like 1,000, so it's 2,260th car made.
Oh, okay. They made that many. Well, first year was what?
353.
53. Okay, okay. Yeah, because I remember, for those of you that are not Corvette fans, when the Corvette first came out, it had that Fireball 6. Is that what it was?
Blue Flame 6.
I'm sorry, Blue Flame. Blue Flame 6 had 2 carburetors on it, I think. Ooh. And it was an automatic.
And 2-speed automatic.
2-speed automatic, and at the time, then the Thunderbird came out, and of course, that blew the doors off the Corvette. That almost did the Corvette in, because I think it outsold it 3-1, 4-1.
At least.
And it had a V8, and it had a 3-speed with an overdrive, and although we don't think of the Thunderbird as a sports car, especially that one, that was more of a personal luxury car. That gave Corvette the impetus to put the 265 in here, huh?
That and Zora Duntov jumping on board.
Right, right, exactly. He made the Corvette, of course, what it is, and he's the father of the Corvette. And you'd be the stepfather. I think you could be the stepfather.
I'm honored you'd say that, Jay.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you're the Corvette guy. You're the man everybody goes to. And you're in, where's it, Effingham?
Effingham, Illinois.
Effingham, Illinois. It sounds like a swear word my dad would say when he didn't want to say something else. I'm in that Effingham, Illinois. And what my dad would do. My dad did not swear, but you go, Effingham. It just not. But and you do a big show every year, right?
We do a Corvette show in September. We'll have 17,000 Corvettes there and over 45,000 people.
Wow.
We'll always bring in some rock band for entertainment.
Yeah,
quite the ordeal. We just need Jay Leno there.
No, I would love to come sometime. That would be great fun. I mean, you've got every model here up until what?
2011. The second edition, we're up 2011. And cool in this book, Jay, is that we have about 3 terabytes of photographs of Corvettes. Yeah. And every photo in there was shot on our corporate campus or at one of the major Corvette shows. So a lot of our customer cars are in there. And
tell me your opinion of the first ZR1 Corvettes.
I think they're rocket ships. Just I have an 89, and you know the car came out in 90, but I got a pre-production car.
I remember they were what, the 375 horse, and they had a
power key on them.
A power key, right? It took it to what? How many horsepower?
4 1/4.
To 4 1/4, and although that doesn't sound like a lot now, you have to go back to the 90s when most cars had...
That car was cutting edge. If you stop and think about how quick that Lotus engine, that LT5 came into production, and that was certainly something new and novel for Chevrolet to outsource an engine and do it that quick, from drawing board to...
And where did the engine come from?
Lotus.
Okay, Lotus did it. Didn't somebody else do the engine?
Mercury Marine.
Mercury Marine, I thought, built them.
In Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Okay, so they built them under license? Is that what it was? Oh, okay.
Developed by Lotus, and then Mercury built them and then shipped them to the factory to install.
And how were they successful sales-wise? Were they okay or not a big...
They did okay, but it was the price of the car.
Yeah. See, that's my thing about Corvette. To me, Corvette has always been a car that, if a blue-collar guy worked hard, saved his money, got a little bit successful, you could afford a Corvette. I think that's what the Corvette, I think, would be like in England, would be the Jaguar XKE. It was less than the Aston Martin, but it had the same power and was just as fast. And a Corvette was a car that a guy could dream about a Ferrari, but you could aspire to own a Corvette. And every time General Motors made a Corvette that was priced just a little above, although they were fantastic cars, they never quite did as well as the earlier models.
I think the car's red, white, and blue. It's very aspirational vehicle, and I can tell you the new C6 cars. I mean, they are just
C6s are good, and of course now they're doing that new version of the Grand Sport. Now they're doing a car that's kind of half Z06, not quite ZR1. Yeah. I mean, there's now a Corvette in about every 1/10 of a second that you want to get down. Yeah. For every 1/10 of a second, if you got another 10 grand, we'll shave another 1/10 of a second off.
And there's something wrong with that?
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that at all. No, I think it's great. And the amazing thing to me is your base C6 Corvette now is faster than the fastest possible car you could have got. Faster than the ZR1 when that came out.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, so you see the progress there. I mean, to me, I've always been a big Corvette fan because it's one of the sports cars you can drive every single day. You can put tons of luggage in it. And when you go places, people don't make obscene gestures at you. People give you a thumbs up when they see you in a Corvette because they know that you probably worked for it. It's not your daddy didn't get it. You know what I mean? It's not. You see a kid in a Ferrari, you go, that punk. You just kind of feel that. Where do you get that? But you see someone in a Corvette, you kind of give them the thumbs up. Well, let me ask you. Here's a hard. What is your favorite car in this book?
Probably the '64 New York World's Fair car in there.
Oh, yeah?
There's a styling car from the 1964 New York
Show me that one. Show me that one. I went to the New York World's Fair, and I remember seeing that. I remember seeing the Chrysler Turbine car. But maybe I did see the Corvette. Let's see. Oh, yeah. With those... Didn't this just sell recently?
I bought that through at the Blackhawk farm, or the Blackhawk collection.
Was that Bill Mitchell's car?
It was one of Bill Mitchell's.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, I remember with those side pipes, and I liked the vent. Nicely done.
Yeah, they cut the fuel injection through the hood, and
a
lot of spatial features like any styling car.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, you have good taste. That's all right. I'll take that. Yeah. And of course, those knockoff wheels, those were only, what, 1 year or 2 years?
Well, they introduced them in '63, actually got them into production '64, 5, and 6.
And I remember, didn't they say, hit the wheels every 100 miles, right? Every 100 miles, you're supposed to get out and
take a lead hammer and keep them tightened down.
Keep them tight every 100 miles. Well, that didn't work. And I think there were a couple of cases of people losing wheels, weren't there?
And if you put them on backwards, which is easy to do, swap wheel to wheel and put the... knockoff on the wrong wheel, it loosens up as you're driving.
I had that, my Lagonda, when I got it, it was a show car, and they put the hubs on the wrong side, and I went down the freeway, and every time I hit the brakes, the thing would loosen.
Back up.
And then I hit the brakes one day, one wheel goes by me, another wheel goes by me, and the two rear ones fall off. I didn't get killed, but I slid across the road, and I went, oh, okay. So that's why they did away with the knockoff. And they went to the locking hub.
They put a pin in it, then went to the locking hub.
But to me, that is the sexiest one. I don't mind getting out and knocking that wheel every 100 miles. It's well worth it just for the look. So, well, very good. Now, where can people get this book?
They can buy it at mamotorworks.com.
Okay, mamotorworks.com.
Call our toll-free number at 800-500-1500 and get a live operator.
And how much different is this from the first edition?
Same price.
No, I mean
more pages.
There's more pages. So the first edition goes up to what year?
To 2004.
Oh, okay. So this goes
7 more years on it, and then we change photographs, change content, and believe it or not, you do find a few editorial mistakes here and there that you have to change.
You'll always find those people. Yager, you don't know what you're talking about. That door handle. I know you'll get that all that kind of stuff. But it's a good read, and it's a fun read, and it's, you can just kind of go to the car you like, and every Corvette is in here. So it's really fantastic. Thanks for keeping the Corvette thing alive.
Well, Jay, thanks for having me here.
And anytime you have another book, come on by and we'll do another book club.
So I'll be back next week.
Fine with me.